The Washington Nationals have named Josiah Gray your opening day starter, but more importantly, did Davey Martinez make the right decision? I'll tell you what I think after this.
You are Locked On Nationals, your daily Washington Nationals podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And thank you all for making Locked On Nationals your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. And of course, I'm your host, Ryan Clary. You can catch me over on Twitter at RyanClary11 and as well as the show page at LO_Nationals. For all your latest Nationals news and notes, make sure to check us out over on Twitter, as well as searching Locked On Nationals wherever you get your podcasts, including over on YouTube. Hit that subscriber button for me as well. Later on in the show, we will be getting a little sneak peek into Joey Gallo's 2024 season as I caught up with him when I was down at West Palm Beach. I'll be having that interview for you at the end of today's show. You will not want to miss that one with Gallo. Great guy. Kind of went in a ton about the young clubhouse down in DC, kind of what the Nationals can be moving forward. I think it's a very interesting perspective for someone who has been around the game for a while. I think you'll really enjoy kind of his insight into these young prospects and kind of what the identity will be with this Nationals team. We'll get that later on. And of course, it's a Monday, so it's a Nat Stock Report Monday. Who's been hot, who's been not, who's been up, who's been down, all the fun stuff right then and there for your individual performances with the Washington Nationals. And hint, today we're going to be going into a lot of different subjects with top prospects and as well as some outfielders in the National system. There have been some turnarounds as of recent here, but let's get into the big decision. As Davey Martinez announced yesterday that Josiah Gray will be the opening day starter, and man, the big question, did he make the right decision? I'll tell you what I think, but today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers join today and you'll get $200 in bonus bets for your first bet of $5 or more. Just visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. And we're going to get started here with discussing the opening day start, as Josiah Gray has been announced as the opening day starter for your Washington Nationals in 2024. Now, that will be coming up later on in March in Cincinnati against the Reds at Great American Ballpark. Cincinnati, number one, is a great day for opening days. If you're a Nationals fan going there, good luck. Have a ton of fun. You'll really enjoy the experience. But did Davey Martinez make the right decision? And I am here to tell you absolutely. This is passing with flying colors. Josiah Gray sitting here right now, this is your best starting pitcher on your roster. Even more so, I've been banging the drum for Mackenzie Gore. I think Mackenzie Gore will overtake that spot by the end of this season. But sitting here today, right now, you got to give it to Josiah. You have to. You can't go out there again with Patrick Corbin, because that was my whole fear. I did a whole show on this just a few weeks ago. We all kind of thought it would be Patrick Corbin. He's going into his last year under contract with the Washington Nationals. He's been your opening day starter over the last few years, and really, we don't even need to talk about it. You know what we're going to get with that here. Patrick Corbin should not be your opening day starter, but they did it out of respect for him because, again, 2019 World Series champion, making the most money on the team, veteran guy, they love him in the clubhouse. Out of respect, they gave him the nod. That can't be it anymore, though. Not with this young team, not with this rejuvenated kind of starting rotation. You can even make the case for a Jake Irvin over Patrick Corbin, in my opinion, but that's not what we're going to get to at today. I'm just happy that he made the right decision. Really kind of going forward with this, Josiah Gray, this is what should be happening. This is how the Nationals should handle this situation. And also kind of going a little deeper into it and kind of taking a look into the season, the home opener, when you go against the Pirates on April 1st, you're going to have 3 games in Cincinnati. That's going to knock out, obviously, Josiah Gray there. You'll probably see Patrick Corbin game 2. They gave 3 at this point. Will it be Jake Irvin? I don't know. Will it be Mackenzie Gore? My whole hope is that on opening day over at Nationals Park, so game 4 of the season, that is when you see Mackenzie Gore. Nationals fans, we don't have all too much to root for this year. Let's just be honest. Unfortunately, this team is not really built to win in the year of 2024. We understand that. The Nationals, they know that. But what we do want to see are all these young guys kind of coming together, gelling as one, and that is an important factor for this rebuild. You need to see guys like a Brady House. You need to see guys like a Dylan Cruz. You need to see guys like Mackenzie Gore, CJ Abrams, Josiah Gray, and kind of take those next step ups in their process in order to get to the big leagues. Obviously, for Gore and Abrams and Josiah Gray, they're already in the big leagues. But still, you expect a little bit of a step up. Those are all some pretty big prospects that you have. This with Josiah Gray kind of giving him that opening day nod isn't just about opening day. It isn't just about kind of giving him that show of confidence. But having that in his back pocket now, being the opening day starter, kind of being told, you're the number one of this team now. You're the former all-star who was an all-star this last year, representing this team in D.C. Your first half of the season was phenomenal outside of your first start against the Atlanta Braves. We expect pretty big things from you this year. We need you to take this step up. I think it's a very good thing as to why this Nationals team, why they choose now Josiah Gray. It's not even about the fact that, let's just kind of get back into it. If you were to throw out Patrick Corbin in there, it's not that exciting. You don't really have all too much hope anymore because you all know what to expect. You know what's going to happen. You're going to get 5 innings pitched, which is great. You're also going to have 4 to 5 earned runs in that scenario as well. It's not that much fun. It takes away a little bit from opening day when you have Patrick Corbin throwing out some meatballs every now and then. It's not the best thing in the world, but Josiah Gray certainly deserves it. And if you were to say otherwise, really going into it with this matchup, really looking way into it over the next few weeks here, with Josiah hopefully taking the hill here soon, you would probably say this isn't going to be a favorable matchup for him. But on the other hand, it doesn't really matter. You don't really have to talk about that. The fact is the Nationals, they made the right decision. They're kind of finally starting to turn that page from the 2019 team and having the 2019 World Series champions plastered on every wall you see over at Nationals Park. It's great. I love 2019. But it kind of had that old stench that you don't really want back anymore. It reminds you of the time where you had that girlfriend or boyfriend or wherever it may be. Kind of brings back a little bit of sour memories in a sense. You could have still had that, but you don't anymore. Patrick Corbin kind of brought that back in me. And really it was a bad version of it as well. So kind of flipping that page, I think it's a big deal. This is kind of hey, we're moving on. This is going to be the new future. Josiah Gray, Mackenzie Gore, CJ Abrams over at shortstop. You got a lot of different guys coming up, making their start in the major leagues at some point this season. It's time to turn the page and figure out the next decade plus of Nationals baseball having success. That is what this is about. And it's a nice kind of rejuvenating feeling to see this Nationals team and the ball club go through this because let's be honest, we've been living in 2019 a lot. Way too much probably. We're about 5 years removed from that at this point. I love the 2019 Nationals, don't get me wrong. I watch highlights of them every week, every Sunday night. I'll sit down, I'll see the Howie Kendrick home run. I'll see the Juan Soto double that went over to right field and Trent Grisham botched the right field play there. I've seen it all. I love it. But right now, it's about the future. And I think moving on from that with kind of getting rid of Patrick Corbin, not getting rid of him, but not starting on opening day, going with Josiah Gray, it tells a lot about this team. It's time to flip the page. It's time to turn that corner and hopefully see some wins down the road, see some development with some prospects, and ultimately just get better. Because that is what this season is going to be about. Individual success. That is where the Nationals will win in 2024. So opening day starter being Josiah Gray. Great move by Davey Martinez. Really shouldn't be too surprising because he's your best pitcher on the roster. But we'll get into that much more as we kind of go on, as we inch closer to opening day. Because we're not that far. We're a handful of days before opening day here. It's going to be a fun one. You're going to want to stick here with Locked On Nationals. Get you covered up to the latest. Thank you all for making Locked On Nats your first listen every single day. Next, let's get into a Nats stock report as you got to find out who's been hot and who's been not, who's been up and who's been down. We'll discuss that after I tell you guys about our good friends over at FanDuel. And guys, when we talk about FanDuel, you need to know all the good things about them because you know what time it is. Say goodbye to busted brackets because FanDuel lets you bet on every game of the tourney, whether you're betting on a big upset or a 1 seed, it's time to go dancing on America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. That's $200 to use on the point spread, money lines. You can even pick who's going to win it all. And of course, again, right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. What a deal. So what you have to do is visit FanDuel.com/lockedon. Again, that is FanDuel.com/lockedon and bet on college hoops until they cut down the nets. Again, that is FanDuel.com/lockedon. And now we get into it as we are in for a Nationals stock report. It is that time. It is a Monday. We are getting ready for the season. Spring training is almost going to be wrapped up here. So, who's been hot? Who's been not? Who's been up? Who's been down? Let's start off with a stock up for the main man, Lane Thomas. Lane Thomas, over the course of spring training, silently again. Last year should have been an all-star, should have been a gold glover in my opinion as well. Fernando Tatis beat him out there in right field, but Lane Thomas, scorching red hot this spring. You've kind of seen just a lot of different things, but here's the big kind of outline thing as to why I'm giving him a stock up. He's got 5 stolen bases so far this spring training. Lane Thomas last year barely got to the 20 stolen base mark, but you see his speed. You see his sprint speed because we all have that information now on Baseball Savant. He is one of the faster players in the National League and even in the National League East, yet he doesn't really steal all too many bases. Now, look at his numbers, obviously an 881 OPS, high batting average, high on-base percentage. He's getting on base and just doing really well. 11 hits in his 36 at-bats, 5 RBIs, but those 5 stolen bases in those limited opportunities as well, that's kind of what I want to see Lane Thomas take advantage of this year. And I think that is kind of what has been his focal point going into 2024 because he knows he could steal more bags than what he has done. And I think he will this year. Kind of going back into a 2020 season, Lane Thomas deserves it. He's got that talent where he can have that 2020 season over the next few years, and you really wouldn't be all too surprised. Lane Thomas, if he were to steal a little bit more bags, that is when you'll see kind of that all-star kind of player. That is when I think you'll see kind of that breakout national player that people will start paying attention to because we know this in town. Lane Thomas has got a lot of talent, but he's not the biggest name in the world. But I think if he were to start stealing a little bit more bags, kind of getting a little more pop in his bat as well, hitting a little more home runs, maybe try to get to that 30 home run mark, people will start to pay attention to him because he's a damn good player. We all know defensively he's up there at some of the best, but Lane Thomas, a very good spring, very encouraging to say the least, and you got to be thrilled with what has happened in spring training. So stock up for Lane Thomas and a stock down for Brady House. As we have said, Brady House, I believe, is one of the Nationals' better hitting prospects in the system. I'm not overly concerned with this because you shouldn't be. It's spring training. That's what it is. You shouldn't be overly excited. You shouldn't be overly concerned with anyone's performances up to date. But so far, Brady House, he's not Major League ready. And I don't think that comes as a surprise to anybody. He's 20 years old, and he doesn't turn 21 until, I believe, mid-June, mid-July. That is when his birthday is. This is still a kid. And you kind of look at him out there, and you're like, it's not fully there yet. He's developed. He's big. He's a big body. He's 6'4", 210 pounds. He's every bit of that. But still, this season, this spring training, it hasn't been all too pretty for Brady House. After kind of starting off a little bit hot there, he's kind of cooled off. You haven't really seen all too much of him, and I think he's probably going to be the first of those kind of trio of prospects with James Wood and Dylan Cruz. I think he'll probably be the first one to get sent down to minor league camp and go down to AAA or AA, whichever one he'll start off in first. But Brady House, again, it's nothing to be concerned about, but he hasn't been Major League ready, and that is the expectation for him. So it's a stock down, just kind of highlighting what Brady House has done. Really, the highlight is hasn't done all too much. Hasn't really been taking his walks. Hasn't taken any walks this spring, in fact. But his OPS, his slugging numbers are a little bit down. He's not ready for Major League pitching. That's not a surprise. That should not be a surprise to anyone. He's 20 years old, but still, stock down. You're in the big league camp. So you're going to judge you by your performance. Call a spade. But Brady House, no worries there whatsoever. He's a kid. He'll go down to the minor leagues. He'll be ready for Major League probably sometime this season. So we'll see where that takes us moving forward. But A stock up for one of the Nationals' kind of low-key, very good offseason signings. So a minor league deal. First baseman, Juan Yepez. 26 years old. He's had 28 at-bats this spring training. All this guy has done is hit. Yes. We all know this. Joey Gallo is expected to be the first baseman for the Nationals with Joey Meneses. I'm not going to rule out Juan Yepez. I'm not going to rule him out whatsoever at this point. Juan Yepez has had a very exciting spring training for this Nationals team. And if you look at the numbers in the past, he's got a lot of power. This last year, why he was DFA'd from the Cardinals organization is number one, he just did not get the job done. And number two, down in AAA, his power really disappeared. That is something to where you can kind of watch out for a little bit, be a slightly concerned, I guess, to say the least. But ultimately, I really like Juan Yepez. I think at some point this season, whether he cracks the opening day lineup, which at this point, it's kind of tough to say he will. But if Juan Yepez, I would not be surprised if he's your starting first baseman at some point this season. Because again, he has that right-handed power bat. And you've seen the power in the past. You've seen it on display in the postseason against the Philadelphia Phillies a few years back. But Juan Yepez has been a very exciting signing for this Nationals team. He's been really good at times. He's just kind of quietly just continued to hit and hit and hit. And he's going to make a tough decision for this Nationals team. I'm not saying he's going to beat out a Joey Meneses, but he's had a way more impressive spring training than Joey Meneses. I can tell you that right now. So Juan Yepez, don't sleep on the guy. I'm telling you, 26 years old. He's going to make a difference at some point this season. I could see the Nationals kind of having that breakout Stone Garrett caliber season, which last year we were all screaming and hooting and hollering for Stone Garrett as he was kind of that breakout guy. I would not be surprised if Juan Yepez is the Stone Garrett of 2024. We'll get into that conversation a lot later this week, but stock down. Got to go back to it. Keibert Ruiz. It started out with this with Keibert. Number one, his defense last year was bad. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. It was bad. Really bad. So far to start spring training, we all know the catcher interference thing. He was kind of crowding the play a little bit, got knocked around there, a couple catcher's interferences, and it just was not good. Since then, it's been a little bit better. His bat has been better as well, but still, the one thing about Keibert Ruiz, I know he's got power. I know he has home run power, but we just have not seen that at a consistent rate just yet. And we have not seen a single one so far this spring training, but here's the good thing about Keibert Ruiz. I like him a lot. I do think that he's going to be the Nationals catcher for hopefully for some time. If it's not the catcher, maybe at first base, whatever. We can figure that out down the road. But at this point, if you were to even just say, well, he could be a DH or a first baseman, the numbers aren't good enough. The numbers are simply not good enough, especially with the power metrics. I just have to see a little bit more from Keibert Ruiz. I got to see him get on base at a more consistent rate. I got to see him do a little bit more damage, hit some home runs, hit some doubles in the gap. All the different things that you want to see Keibert Ruiz do, and we know that what he's capable of doing, you want to see that eventually because he's 25 years old. Again, still relatively young, coming off his really second season up in the majors at a full-time clip. Keibert Ruiz, again, good prospect, someone that you really believe in. You should. But you just haven't seen it fully click just yet. And that has been the frustrating part when talking about Keibert Ruiz because we all know he's got the talent. That's not the concern here. It's the consistency. That is the main concern with Keibert Ruiz. So next, our last stock up, stock down of the day is a stock up for Jacob Young. Not only did Jacob Young get a shout out from the Lerner family, because if I don't know if you saw that, the principal owner, Mark Lerner, wrote a little note to Nationals fans, which is kind of nice. People were crapping on it. Whatever. It's a note. It's an owner trying to show that he's engaged in the fans again. We'll see. We'll have to see that on the field and down the road. But Jacob Young, quietly, again, a very good spring training because he's not someone that, again, that you're going to really kind of go into this season expecting a big breakout kind of year. But one thing that you can't expect from Jacob Young is that, number one, the kid's going to hit. And number two, he's kind of like that Alex Call mentality, that very scrappy nat. He's never going to be an easy out. And once this guy is on the bases, easy 40 stolen bases if you were to play 162 games. If you were to get on base, even a touch below average clip, this kid's going to steal 40-plus bags. That's just something I have to believe in. In this spring so far, in 36 at-bats, he's been given a lot of opportunities in center field. I still believe at this point, Victor Robles, he is not your opening day center fielder at this point. I would give it to Jacob Young, even though Robles had his ups and downs in spring training, but we all know it's going to happen. It's not going to be all too much. Jacob Young is the guy that I would give this opening day nod to. And the reason why that is because this is just a simple, better player. Simple as that. This is the better player at this moment in time. Now, the thing with Jacob Young is being, a seventh round pick out of 2021, kind of rising through the Nats system over the last year or so from high A all the way through AAA, going up into the majors last year. The Nationals, they showed how they feel about him. They like the talent that he holds here. Now, the thing is he going to take this job and run with it? We'll just have to see because there's a few more weeks left in camp. I don't know what they're going to do with Jacob Young, but I can certainly say this. They have not made it an easy decision. Jacob Young is going to continue to press the pedal to the metal. He's going to go all in for the center field job, and I would not be surprised to see him be our opening day starter again. We'll get in that conversation at another day. But next, it's time for Joey Gallo time. I talked with Joey Gallo for a little bit. Very nice guy. Couldn't have been nicer to give me a few minutes here. We'll play that interview and kind of what he got into with this Nationals team after I tell you guys about our good friends over at eBay Motors. And guys, passion, drive, and patience is what brings home the winning trophy, is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance, from superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the price you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. Again, ebaymotors.com. Now let's get back into it as I caught up with Joey Gallo, the Nationals first baseman, one of the biggest offseason acquisitions for this team in quite some time. Very good guy. Let's hear our conversation with Joey Gallo live from West Palm Beach. 3, 2, 1. Ryan Clare here with Joey Gallo. Joey, how's it like being in West Palm Beach with this Washington Nationals clubhouse? You obviously know it's a young one, but you've been in a lot before. So what do you make of this clubhouse here?
Yeah, no, it's been a great experience. It's been a fun clubhouse. A lot of, like I said, young guys, but that's a lot of energy and a lot of passion and love for the game. So it's always fun I always like being in a young clubhouse because of that reason. So it's been great so far. West Palm Beach has been amazing. It's a great spot for spring training, and the team, we get along very, very well. So I'm excited to see what we can do in the season.
You've been a veteran presence in the clubhouse for a while now, but what do you think about this clubhouse is so unique with all these different young guys, prospects? What do you make of it?
Yeah, I think that right there is part of it. It is unique because you have a lot of young, very high prospects. You have some veteran guys, and you have guys in the middle as well. And it's always exciting to kind of see a young team develop. And for me, like, I've been in a lot of different clubhouses, like you said, but it's definitely one of the most energetic and passionate clubhouses and close clubhouses that I've been in, and that's always fun. That's always exciting. And I think that's how you start a new wave of success, is to start with guys who get along, guys who care about the game and come to the field with passion every day. So I think we're on the right track.
People always know you for your home runs and everything, hitting 40-plus home runs, but you're also a great defensive kind of guy. You're going to be playing first base in the outfield, but what do you kind of see yourself being the best at this year? Do you think you're going to be first base? Do you think you're going to play outfield, or really just wherever you will be put, you'll be playing?
Yeah, I think wherever they put me, I'm going to play. I've always taken pride in being able to play multiple positions and play it at a high level. So that's one thing when I signed with this team, is I understood, hey, there's going to be spots where I might have to play first, I might have to play right field, left field, center, DH, whatever it's going to be. It's just about getting on the field in any way you can, and that's just kind of how I was raised. I came up as third baseman, moved the outfield, moved to first, I played everywhere. So I think in today's game, you've got to have that versatility, and I'm considered a veteran, but I feel like I can still bounce around the field a little bit.
Yeah, no, because people don't really know. You're a Gold Glover kind of guy here. So, like people know you for the home runs and everything, but I know you do pride yourself on that defense there. So, obviously, kind of going back to this youthful clubhouse here in D.C., what do you kind of make of this Nationals team moving forward? Like, what do you think the identity is going to be of this team in 2024?
Yeah, I think for me, like, it seems like, obviously, like we said, it's a young team, and there's going to be learning experiences and growing pains as any young player is going to go through. That's just how baseball works. When you play 160 games, it's actually 62 a year. But for us, I think it's just about showing up every day and learning how to just compete every day and put your best product on the field. And for me, I always thought playing the game with passion and respecting the game and hustle is the way to go about it. And I think that's kind of going to be our plan this year is, hey, we're going to go out there, we're going to play 110% every game. It doesn't matter if it's raining, if it's, morning game, night game, doesn't matter. We're going to go out there and just put what we got on the table and see what happens. And I think that's the best way to develop guys, just to understand that every game counts.
All right, let me ask you this, because you are a Las Vegas guy after all, and with the move from the Athletics going from Oakland to Vegas, what do you kind of make of that? Hometown kid now getting your own baseball team. What does Vegas think?
Man, I wish I was born 10 years later, honestly, so I could experience that stadium. Hopefully I will get to experience it, but growing up in Vegas, when I was there, we had no sports teams. We had the Las Vegas 51's AAA team, and it was not in the best part of town to go and watch a game either. So we had nothing to go watch sports. So it's great to see, like, they got hockey now, they're getting football, obviously baseball. At some point, probably basketball is going to end up moving there, I would think. So it's great for the community. It's great for the people in Vegas to actually have a sports team, and it's great for the country because, if the Washington Nationals are playing in Vegas, it's probably going to be a good incentive for fans to make a trip to Vegas. They get to watch their team play, and they get to go to the casino, lose some money, and have a good night and watch some shows. So I think it's great for the game. It's great for baseball. I just wish I was able to be a part of it a little younger, but it's great to see.
And I've certainly lost a buck or two at a casino before. So Joey, thanks for the time, man.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
Joey Gallo from West Palm Beach, of course, over at Locked On Nationals. Couldn't have been a nicer guy. I think Nationals fans will love him and be one of the fan favorites by midsummer. Great personality, someone that's going to be a big leader in the clubhouse who's been around the game for a while. Very, very much so rooting for Joey Gallo this season. I think he's going to have, hopefully, a big year for this Nationals team. Hit some home runs, deal him at the deadline to a contender. Hopefully his career can take back off here in Washington, D.C. That'll be a very fun season to watch. For more, of course, check us out over on YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts as well. Just search Locked On Nationals. That is where you'll find us right then and there. And of course, I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Have a good one. Enjoy spring training. And Josiah Gray, your opening day starter down at the Great American Ballpark. It'll be a fun one.